Kang Gun-woo reflected on the peculiar parallels between life and baseball. Both were unpredictable. Even after countless failures, a single, decisive action could alter one's destiny. Conversely, a single misstep could destroy everything, even on the smoothest road to success. This understanding had come to define his journey. Gun-woo's achievements in baseball were legendary. If the sport were a chessboard, he considered himself the queen, dominating in every aspect. He had won the prestigious Cy Young Award as the best pitcher in the major leagues, alongside the Gold Slugger Award for his exceptional batting. His prowess extended to defense, earning him the Golden Glove as both a pitcher and shortstop. With titles like League MVP and World Series MVP, culminating in a World Series championship ring, Gun-woo had reached the pinnacle of his career. Yet, on what should have been the happiest day of his life, he found himself at a personal low, getting divorced from Yuri. 20 years earlier, Yuri had been his childhood friend, 2 years his senior. On his birthday, she had presented him with a simple yet peculiar gift, a ring. She handed it to him, asking if there was anyone else like her in his life. Clueless and a bit dismissive, Gun-woo had questioned the practicality of a ring, pointing out how uncomfortable it would be for a baseball player. His indifference had stung Yuri. Her voice trembled with frustration as she explained that it wasn't just a ring. It was a magic ring that could supposedly turn back time or perform other fantastical feats. Then, in a fit of anger, she revealed the truth. It had been a toy, meant for her nephew, but she had decided to give it to him. Hurt and exasperated, Yuri stormed off, leaving Gun-woo shouting after her in vain. From that day forward, the so-called magic ring became his secret weapon in their relationship. Whenever he upset Yuri, he would turn to it, hoping to undo his mistakes or at least soften her anger. The ring, symbolic of both their bond and his immaturity, remained a reminder of the complicated and bittersweet nature of their connection. Kang Gun-woo's memories often drifted to Yuri, their shared moments lingering in his thoughts like echoes from a distant past. Once, during a small quarrel outside a movie theater, Yuri had stood firm, exuding her usual confidence. A boy tried to reconcile with her, apologizing and urging her to go inside. She simply stated that the movie was over. Desperate, the boy pleaded for forgiveness, prompting her to tease him, demanding he call her Nina and repeat his request. Gun-woo, observing the exchange, had interjected defensively, claiming he wasn't addressing her but was instead casting a magic spell. He made an exaggerated show of using the magic ring, much to her annoyance. Yuri's expression softened momentarily, betraying a hint of a smile. Gun-woo, triumphant, declared that the ring's power had worked again. Yet, in the solitude of his mind, he often wondered if the ring could truly turn back time, to when they were happy. Each night, he clung to this delusion, hoping to find solace in his dreams. One such night, a knock at the door pulled him from his thoughts. A man entered, presenting an enticing offer. If Gun-woo chose their Oceans team over Major League Baseball, they promised him unprecedented treatment. The man's words were confident, but Gun-woo was distracted by his familiarity. The visitor apologized to someone he called Director, leaving Gun-woo puzzled. Suddenly, as the scene unfolded, Gun-woo found himself in a surreal encounter. A young boy seated nearby referred to him, making a determined statement about going to the U.S. Gun-woo's eyes widened in disbelief. The man standing before him bore an uncanny resemblance to his father, yet inexplicably looked much younger. Startled, Gun-woo stumbled and fell from his chair. The boy cried out his name, and the fatherly figure rushed to his aid, checking if he was all right. Gun-woo, disoriented, couldn't believe what he was seeing. His thoughts raced. His father, alive and youthful? And why was he wearing a high school uniform? As he looked around, recognition dawned. It was the house he had lived in during his teenage years. His mind reeled as he tried to process this apparent impossibility. Was it a dream? It couldn't be. The pain from his fall felt too real. Before he could fully comprehend what was happening, someone addressed him again, urging him to trust them, just this once. Gun-woo, confused and overwhelmed, could only wonder what strange twist of fate had brought him here. In the surreal haze of his return to the past, Kang Gun-woo faced a familiar moment that felt too vivid to be a dream. His father, the earnest and clumsy director of the Oceans team, stood before him, passionately pitching his recruitment. He promised unwavering support, staking his own position as director to ensure Genuis' success. Genuis' thoughts raced as recognition dawned. This was the summer of his senior year in high school, a pivotal time when choices determine futures. As his father laid out the benefits of building experience in the KBO League before pursuing an international career, Genuis felt a wave of nostalgia. He remembered this exact conversation and how persistent the Ocean's director had been in trying to recruit him. But rather than engaging, Genuis suddenly bolted out of the room, ignoring the voices calling after him. He rushed to another door and hesitated. Knocking softly, he called out, unsure if she was home. Then came Yuri's voice from inside, the sound cutting through the surreal haze of his predicament. She emerged, and there she was, Yuri, standing before him as she had in those simpler days. Genuis, overwhelmed, could only manage to tell her he had wanted to see her. Confused, Yuri examined his face, wondering if he was unwell. They had just seen each other earlier, she pointed out. Her casual question about his meeting with the Ocean's director added to his disorientation, but her presence stirred a bittersweet ache in him. Genuis, struggling to find the words, asked if she could hear his heartbeat. Startled, she brushed off the comment. She had always been there, and at some point, he had begun to take that for granted, assuming she always would be. Her teasing demeanor shifted when she noticed his phone vibrating insistently, and urged him to answer. Reluctantly, Genuis took the call. On the other end, his father's voice thundered with frustration, demanding to know what was going on. Genuis, steady now, declared that he wasn't going to the U.S., leaving both Yuri and his father stunned. Yuri's shock turned to disbelief as she asked if he had lost his mind. Genuis, torn between the familiar rhythms of the past and the weight of decisions yet to come, felt a strange clarity. In this fleeting moment, everything, the awards, the fame, and even the championship ring, seemed secondary. What mattered was the chance to rewrite the moments that truly shaped him.